Terra, Luna, FTT, a lot of smart guys wanted to trade altcoins, and they made some money for a time, but they're juggling razor blades. I think you could think of Bitcoin as like the ultimate banking franchise. Anybody can be their own bank. It doesn't mean you can be a profitable bank. Like, for example, you can be your own bank, or you can be the bank for your family of 13 people. Okay, be your own bank for 13 people. You can be a bank for 1,300 people. You can be a bank for 13,000 people or 13 million people. You can do stuff.
Michael Saylor shares how his perspective on history has been redefined by Bitcoin and offers valuable counsel to aspiring entrepreneurs. Saylor provided multiple reasons why buying Bitcoin is a good idea. He clarified that saving money in bonds and savings accounts doesn't work as a comparable investment to Bitcoin. According to Saylor, Bitcoin presents the opportunity to pursue an alternative profession while enabling individuals to save their money in the form of Bitcoin. With the rising popularity of Bitcoin among global investors, Michael Saylor has shed light on the challenges associated with self-custody. He firmly believes that a time will come when major banks will provide Bitcoin custody services. Saylor emphasized that if Bitcoin is to become a universal solution, it is inevitable for banks, corporations, governments, and nonprofit organizations to incorporate Bitcoin into their operations. Jack Dorsey's Cash App boasts a staggering user base of 55 million individuals engaged in the selling of Bitcoin. He believes that Bitcoin is an instrument of economic empowerment for billions of people that are unbanked and have no property rights in the world. As per Saylor analysis, Abigail Johnson's company serves 35 million customers and manages an impressive $8 trillion worth of assets, including Bitcoin sales. Saylor believes that there is a possibility that Apple might incorporate Bitcoin into its iPhone, reaching a massive user base of 2 billion people. According to him, Bitcoin holds the promise that individuals can achieve wealth and success by engaging in any profitable endeavor, provided they prioritize saving their money in Bitcoin. Here are a few glimpses from the discussion that we'd like to show you. Before we proceed, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more updates.
What Bitcoin offers you is the ability to work at another profession, save your money in Bitcoin, and have your net worth go up exponentially over the course of your life. So, a lot of people make the mistake of, so let's say you're a brain surgeon. They could make $500,000 a year as a brain surgeon, and they make the mistake of thinking I should quit being a brain surgeon and create my own altcoin or trade altcoins because that's the Bitcoin thing to do. Well, no, you're the world's best brain surgeon. People need you, and they'll pay you $500,000 a year. If you took the $500,000 a year and you bought Bitcoin 10 years in a row, you would be a billionaire by now. And still a brain surgeon, right? If you'd done it that way. On the other hand, if you quit your job and you don't make the $5 million over 10 years, and then you trade altcoins or whatever, you just probably lose all your money, and you'll be an unemployed brain surgeon that lost all your money. Because being a brain surgeon doesn't qualify you to trade altcoins. The promise of Bitcoin is you can do anything, and you can be wealthy and successful as long as the anything you do is profitable and you save your money in Bitcoin. Just understanding Bitcoin doesn't mean that you can sell more Bitcoin than Fidelity. See, Jack Dorsey has 55 million people using Cash App selling Bitcoin. And Abigail Johnson has 35 million customers and $8 trillion of assets, and they sell Bitcoin. Just because you know Bitcoin doesn't mean you can outsell Fidelity or outsell Jack Dorsey. And at the end of the day, Apple may actually ship Bitcoin on the iPhone to 2 billion people to top Jack Dorsey. And, Bank of America and JP Morgan may decide to try to top Fidelity. So you have to be aware that Bitcoin is an open, permissionless protocol. Anybody can do anything they want with Bitcoin. So if you're going to do something with Bitcoin, you should make sure that you're the best in the world at doing that thing. if you're the biggest bank in a country in Africa selling Bitcoin, and if you've got all the licenses and you know the market, you'll probably do well selling Bitcoin, and you should do that. But if you happen to be the most successful operator of restaurants in your town, and you understand Bitcoin, you're probably better off to operate the restaurants, take all your money, buy the Bitcoin.
Bitcoin represents a groundbreaking advancement for humanity with the capacity to address numerous global challenges and create trillions of dollars in economic value. Saylor views it as a transformative force that holds the potential to offer solutions and generate substantial positive impact. Saylor emphasized that comprehending Bitcoin requires thorough study and understanding. To grasp the essence of Bitcoin, he suggests delving into its intricacies, along with immersing oneself in the history of science and economics. Bitcoin potentially presents an opportunity, but it's important to note that the majority of the world's population doesn't necessarily need to consider Bitcoin. Instead, they should focus on excelling in their respective profession.
Everything that came before Bitcoin was an attempt that was defective in some way. There's a lot of stuff that came after Bitcoin that's defective, that's not dead yet, but most of it's almost dead, right? I mean, like it's collapsing at a pretty rapid rate. How long have the Bitcoin forks lasted, right? The block size wars were 2018, right? 2017.
Yes.
So we're 5 years later, so they're not going to last 10 years. I mean, many of them didn't last 5 years. You can't understand money until you understand Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the first perfected money in the history of the human race. And you can't understand economics until you understand Bitcoin, because if you never saw thermodynamically sound money, you never saw thermodynamically sound or physically sound economics. And the Austrian economists came closest to that, but they didn't have mathematically perfect assets, and they didn't have an economic system to implement a perfect, mathematically correct ledger. You can understand Bitcoin, and to understand Bitcoin, you have to understand Bitcoin, study it, study the history of science, study the history of economics, especially Austrian economics and the like, and study the way the layer 1 protocol works with layer 2, layer 3, etc. So that's the Bitcoin stack. Then there's the question of what will you do with your life? And that's everything else, okay? And so, for example, AI is going to change the way people do things. If you're an artist today, I would say, well, 10 years ago, study Photoshop. You know, if you have a choice between being an artist, you know, painting on the street and selling your paintings, or being a digital artist in Photoshop, you want to do Photoshop. But today I would say study AI plus Photoshop, and then start thinking about, you know, how you create the most value from your talent, harnessing the most advanced tools, right? And whatever money you make, invest it in Bitcoin.
Yes.
Bitcoin may offer an opportunity, may not, but 98% of the world doesn't need to contemplate Bitcoin. They need to be a good doctor, a good driver, a good pilot, or a good engineer, right? And so figure that out.
Bitcoin appears to have a promising setup for the new quarter, as notable institutions express confidence not only in the future of cryptocurrency, but also in the regulatory landscape within the United States. Looking beyond the macro environment, it is evident that developments in U.S. regulation and the pursuit of ETF applications will remain significant focal points throughout the third quarter. The recent surge in efforts to secure approval for a Bitcoin ETF coincided with the Securities and Exchange Commission's previously unfavorable stance on crypto, and many are optimistic that influential institutions like BlackRock will contribute to positive advancements in this regard. Are you a Bitcoin owner? If so, what has been your experience with Bitcoin? We encourage you to share your views in the comments section. If you found this content informative, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for the most up-to-date news and videos. Thanks for joining us.